Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I'm Tina Jha, you're watching Perspective. As China tightens its grip over the exports of rare earth minerals, the critical ingredients that power everything today, from the smartphones that we use and the electric vehicles on the roads to fighter jets and advanced weapon systems, countries across the world are scrambling to diversify supply chains and achieve self-sufficiency. In a significant move, the United States and Australia have signed a new agreement to boost the supply of rare earths and other critical minerals, part of a broader effort by Washington and its allies to counter Beijing's dominance in this strategic sector. Today, China controls nearly 70% of global rare earth mining and an even more staggering 90% of the processing capacity, a near monopoly that has far-reaching geopolitical and economic implications. India too is stepping up its game, from exploring its own mineral reserves to forging partnerships with resource-rich nations. New Delhi is pulling out all the stops to build a resilient and self-reliant critical minerals ecosystem. On the show today, we decode the new geopolitics of critical minerals, the economics behind it, the global supply chain realignments, and the strategic choices that could shape the world's next industrial revolution. Joining us on the program are Professor Rajiv Nayan. He's joined the Nelson Mandela Center for Peace and Conflict Resolution, Jamia Millia Islamia University, New Delhi. And he's also a former research associate MP IDSA. Professor, thank you for your time. Welcome to Sansad TV. Also, congratulations on the new role. We're also joined by Professor T.N. Singh. He's director at IIT Patna. Professor, thank you for your time. Welcome to Sansad TV. So, Professor Nayan, let me begin the program today with you. So, rare earth minerals today have become the new strategic currency in a way in the global power ecosystem. How would you describe the geopolitics of the critical minerals evolving in this new era of technological rivalry that we are witnessing?
Look, this rare earth elements or rare earth materials, which are about 17 minerals which constitute this formulation. In fact, this has been an issue of geopolitics for long, but it was slightly subdued. In fact, once Deng Xiaoping had passed the comment that what oil is for Middle Eastern country, rare earth elements, generally this term is coined, and rare earth elements are for China. So he, in fact, had seen a role, a strategic role, or he basically saw it as a strategic commodity for long, which is nothing new. I think it was in 1990 they started just visualizing its strategic role and how they can dominate. But as I told you, it was somewhat subdued. Because at that time, they had not separated, or they had not got this kind of divorce from the Western Bloc. Their partner is since 1960s. So, but they were contemplating about that. But what happened very recently in 2010, when they had their law and they started focusing on rare earth materials. So export controls also became a tool for them, and they started controlling rare earth materials for their own strategic, or you can say political purposes. Many may argue that, in fact, China was rising and it also required these rare earth materials for its internal industry. But that argument may be valid, but predominantly it was for geopolitical purposes. And the first target was Japan. After Japan, actually, when United States also started retaliating, and United States mobilized its partners or its allies to target China again, and then started this first trade war. Actually, if you go back in this current situation, and if you go back around 2012, then you'll find that all the basic reason for this trade war was the war over rare earth materials.
Right.
So United States also mobilized, and this has started taking place. Then it's spilled over to other areas such as semiconductor and chip war, what we have started calling. And you have rightly pointed out that it has got several uses, including military, and it has got implications for it. The control has got implications for not only the smartphone or television, different types of television, but also electric vehicles, which has become the new area of geoeconomics.
In fact, every high-tech product that we are using, in a way, you require these rare earth minerals to manufacture these products. And in that context, Professor Singh, I would like your perspective on how the reality of today's geopolitics is that China holds a near monopoly. 70% of mining is what China controls, 90% of processing, and of course that gives it enormous leverage in the geopolitical context, if we can say that. How do you see partnerships such as what has happened between the United States and Australia sort of trying to reduce that dependence on China? Will more and more such agreements between like-minded countries to reduce Chinese monopoly work as far as China's leadership in this strategic sector is concerned?
Yes, somewhat, yes. But look at this scenario that the things which are available in other country, they have not seriously taken into the consideration about the importance of these critical minerals. Even India is very rich in the mineral resources, and all kind of these minerals are available in Indian earth system. 2023, we have identified first time the 30 critical minerals, including the rare earth elements and PG group of platinum group of minerals. And their importance is increasing day by day because of this various utility for the, you can say, the humankind and the development, the pace to continue for the future. But you can see this, how the China is cleverly taken into the consideration these importance of the critical minerals, and they have taken not only their own country these kind of this mineral, but they have also taken the Congo, which is one of the richest in the critical minerals.
Right.
They have taken the mining lease from that place, and they have tried to processing it and this selling to the across the world, including the Congo also. So the thing is that in Indian condition, if you can see, we have not a direct production of the critical minerals, but these are the very byproducts of the all critical minerals are available. Either you can see this platinum, or through the aluminum we have this various minerals we can get. That will be the only thing is what is the processing which we should do should be economically viable. That will be the question right now in the scientific arena, that how best we can go for the processing the critical mineral, taking into the consideration of the cost effectiveness.
Absolutely.
So,
you've raised a very important point, and if I can relate it to the kind of resources, Professor Nayan, that India has currently, we have about 6% of the rare earth reserves, but less than 1% of production capacity. What are the technological gaps, or where do we need to put in our efforts to take that percentage a notch higher? Because we have an ambition to make ourselves as an alternative player in that global supply chain, but with less than 1% production globally, we absolutely need to work quite hard in this area.
Yes, definitely. We should bridge the gap between this production unit. There is three things. One is the exploration of the material to understand where it is located, in what form it is located in the earth crust. Then what are the methods of the exploration and exploitation of these minerals? And third thing will be coming with the metallurgical processing, by which we can extract this mineral for the purification process. So we have some of this deposit. Recently you have seen that the government of India has taken this critical mineral mission of a huge amount of the fund is available. And one of this GSI reported that in the Riyasi district of the Jammu and Kashmir, we have the huge deposit of this critical mineral. But that should be identified, because you know the problem is the critical minerals processing required a lot of environmental consideration, and that we cannot compromise with the environment to the critical minerals, but by the same time we cannot afford that whatever the material we have, it should not be processed. So this is a paradox in both, but as a scientist, people should try to find out a amicable solution which can serve the Mother Earth also for the safety and sustainability, as well as the need of this human being for the use of these critical minerals. So a lot of research is required.
Okay, so I'll come to what kind of collaboration are the academic institutions like the IITs and the industry are doing in this area in the next round. But perhaps, Professor Nayan, I'll try and understand in more detail from you about some of the steps that we've undertaken in recent years, both in terms of exploring our own reserves, about 6% of the rare earth reserves that India has, it's significant, but in terms of the gaps that persist in our refining and processing capacity. So how are we doing all of that through research, through innovation, through use of technology?
Look, actually, Department of Atomic Energy had this rare earth department for long. In fact, for many years, for decades, it has got this department. It has been working on that. But the point which you have raised, reprocessing one, this is a global problem. Actually, the world over-relied on China.
Right.
You know, United States has also got the problem. Even they can mine in California, but once it comes to reprocessing, they had to, or they have to rely on China.
In fact, so even Australia.
Generally, now they are diversifying. I tell you that the statistics which you put forward, and International Energy Agency is also revising its estimates. Now countries have woken up after China started using it as a strategic tool, or what generally we in modern days we call it weaponizing this material, or weaponizing this set of materials, 17 minerals which which are known as rare earth materials. So once they started doing, then the countries are also increasing or augmenting their capacity. And now we see an interdependence among non-Chinese countries over that. It will take time, it may take some more time, but all are now conscious of the fact that they have to somehow restore or make a supply chain resilient. They cannot just rely on China. So China's share is in fact coming down even in mineral mining, even in processing, 90%, 91%, which once it did. So now it is coming down, and other countries are also doing. India has also become very active. It is not only signing or forging agreements with several countries, and such as our own neighboring country, Nepal. Nepal also has got rare earth materials. Even with Afghanistan, it has got an agreement. Myanmar is coming up very fast, and Myanmar may not have reprocessing capability. Other countries may have. So soon, I think the world will find a solution to the Chinese blackmail. And now the way it is putting all the items under control, it is not even paying attention to WTO, the quota system which it had got. It is also imposing tariffs as the United States is doing. So this is a very peculiar situation.
Okay. So in terms of diversifying our agreements, in terms of expanding cooperation with the resource-rich countries, Professor Singh, India has agreements with nearly 10 countries. We're also in talks with more and more countries for such partnerships. But if we want to become a credible player in the global supply chain, we will have to build an ecosystem which is self-reliant, and for which I believe research and innovation has got enormous thrust in the past few years. In that context, tell us how are institutions like IITs contributing in R&D, especially in areas like mineral extraction, processing technologies, and recycling of critical minerals?
Yes, it is very important that processing is very crucial thing for the beneficence of these minerals from the polymetallic minerals and others, because most of them are the byproduct. There is no direct product of this, they are byproduct. Suppose you have the bauxite, then a lot of byproducts are with the aluminum. We have this minerals like lithium, gallium, and all these things. If you can see this polymetallic deposits of this various regions of India, particularly northeastern region of that one, then you can get the platinum group of minerals, and that is the assembly of minerals, not only one platinum and all things. So this government of India has made a mission, and they have given some centers, 4, 5 centers in the spokes and hub model. Like some of this IT has been taken at the hubs and some of them is spokes. Some of the CSIR laboratories has been taken also and coming together. So I think a multi-institutional approach is required, because somebody is very good in the exploration, some are very good in the production, and some are very good in the processing. So all three components can come together and work simultaneously and in the tandem manner, so that we can get this best the technology.
So
India
Professor,
has also worked.
if you could also talk to us about some of the existing collaborations between between industry, academia, and other institutions. You said it's going to be a multi-stakeholder collaboration. So talk to us about some of the present collaborations in developing or strengthening the ecosystem. Yes.
You see, why I said multi-approach, because you know this IIT having the limitation of the research, because we cannot go for the scaling up. But if you have processed something in the laboratory, we need to go for the scaling up. And for scaling up, we need a small mini plant or something processing plant where we can verify. So for that, we need some institutions of the CSIR laboratory, particularly those who are working in the mineral beneficiation and mineral processing, like NML Jamshedpur, and you have the MMTC of this MMT of Bhubaneswar. They are the one of this center where processing can be done very easily, and they have the scaling up potential, and they have done it in the various fields. And now some of these areas we need to the reuse some of the waste material which you have left long back, but they have the potential that now with the modern tools and technology we can process and get this rare earth metal out of that. Just like the dump of this alumina, dump of this gold, dump material of this base metals like this lead, zinc, copper, all these are having this some kind of this rare earth mineral, and that can be extracted. So there is two approaches required. One, the searching and hunting of these new deposits. Second will be whatever this material we have in the secondary minerals or the waste material, and that waste material that can be processed and refiltration is required. And third thing is a new technology is required, and there is a collaboration among this all IIT and the CSIR lab, and they are coming together and they have started working together. Now we have the very good correlation, and you can see the relation and cooperation between this Australian, some of this universities, CSIRO, University of Monash University, and this Indian university and the laboratory. We are working together on that, and there is a very nice exchange of some of the research scholars, even from the IIT Patna. They have visited the CSIRO, and they have took the training and they have started working on that. So cooperation is required, and we have to work, because this is the problem, then there is a solution. And this solution should be found out by these scientists of this India, and we can resolve this issue. It is not at all a problem. If in the COVID we can develop the vaccine within a limited time, so this is the challenge, and one should accept this challenge, and we can work hard to make a solution for these things, and the monopoly of China can be reduced as much as possible.
Absolutely. Aapada mein avsar is what our Prime Minister keeps asserting, and perhaps this is the chance when the countries world over are scrambling to reduce China's monopoly in this strategic sector. There are these technology collaborations between like-minded countries which are taking place to help each other build on and strengthen their scientific and industrial capabilities, something that Professor Singh has highlighted about how India has been taking steps in that direction over the last few years. Professor Nayan, but rare earth mining, processing, these also come with a set of environmental challenges. India has pledged to progress, but also progress sustainably. How are we balancing the need for rare earth minerals, but at the same time doing it through a sustainable roadmap?
No, yes, this is a very valid point. In fact, when this capacity was shifted to China, this was the major factor behind United States, you can say, acceding or agreeing to give so much importance to China, because it did not want to have polluting industry or dangerous industry in its own country.
Right.
But now technologies have improved, and technologies can take care of all such fears which sometimes pervade over the population over and in the society. Actually, the new technology you don't if you start thinking 40 years, the situation prevailing 40 years ago, you will not find the valid reasons for objecting to such things. So now, of course, India is collaborating. India also has got, and other countries have also got, not only India, other countries have also got the capability or capacity to use non-polluting or advanced technology to cut down the pollution level or the dangerous level. In fact, that's why United States is now also asserting to have all these minerals and processing sites, or you can say stations in its own country. So this is the new development taking place. India is doing institutional innovation also. And one is Kabil, this is Khanis Videsh India Limited. They are collaborating with other countries. Plus, India has also amended its own laws. And its laws and Ministry of Mines, which is generally considered to be the nodal agency, they are also taking care of what are the problems, what are the rules, what are the regulations. So all kinds of regulations are being looked after, and many departments are, or many ministries are collaborating over it, because as you have rightly pointed out in the very beginning, that it has got implications for several walks of life. So many ministries have become stakeholders. So all are investing, and many, I will not say the ultimate solution has been found technologically or otherwise, but all are working towards that. Now this is a new global challenge posed to not only us, but to the entire world by China. And so we will come out of it. This is what I can say.
That's right. I'll take one last question, Professor, because recently Afghan's foreign minister was in India, and he has offered India access to critical minerals in Afghanistan, and also sought help from India in terms of skilled manpower and technological help to help explore these rare earth minerals. How do you see that benefiting India? And I ask you this because in the current geopolitical scenario, it's important for India to maintain its strategic autonomy, but at the same time, we are a country that have good relations with China, with Russia, with the United States, with Australia, all the key players in today's geopolitical conflict as far as the critical minerals is concerned.
You have very rightly said that wherever the resource we can tap, and these resources should be brought. This is the one challenge, because this, you can say, not a very stable political system in some of the country where the rare earth minerals are available. So that will be the one challenge. But many of these mining companies, when this amendment has been taken place in the mining rules and regulation, now the private players are also allowed to go for the exploration to the exploitation and to get this mining plant approved by the IBM and other things. So that will be a very important thing, is because we have to think about the how we can develop some of the alternative material, artificial materials, or you can synthetic material which without changing the property and characteristic of the rare earth mineral. That will be also one of the solution by which we can reduce the stress from the Chinese stress from this across the world global level. Just like you can see from the graphite, people have just started making the graphene, which has the wider application and nothing less any character than the natural one. So likewise, people have started thinking of the 2D material, 3D material as the alternative material, taking some of this material and purify them up to the scalable level, and then we can do it. So this is a two front we have to think. One, to alternative technology, which is the sustainable for the environmental and keeping the ecosystem intact, and then it will be follow the processing of this material must be the environmental friendly, cost effective, and likewise the green energy. Second will be the some of this alternative material, synthetic material we have to develop in our laboratory, which can be used for a different industry where if there is a need. So graphene is one which is a leading one, and people have started. You have seen now the polymorphs of this diamond, artificial diamond,
Right.
having the same characteristic as the natural diamond. So people are now using it for the different industrial use and for the ornamental use also. So like that, we have to think in two directions, and then we can resolve this issue. But I think India is able and capable to resolve this issue and show some of the path for the processing of this mineral, tapping the minerals in the across, particularly the African countries, and we have our presence in this African country. Various exploration people, various mining people have taken the lead, and they have started working on that.
That's the potential, and that's the alternate pathway perhaps that India has adopted in the last few years. Professor Nayan, one last comment from you on this aspect itself. While we are developing and strengthening our domestic ecosystem, it's important for us to be part of the global supply chain, and for which we need to strike a balance between strategic autonomy and global cooperation. Because as you said at the start of the program, critical minerals have the potential, or in fact they already are, they have the strategic aspect attached to them. So they enjoy the strategic importance that perhaps oil once enjoyed. And that's why we are seeing how critical minerals, the rare earths, are shaping alliances, realignments as far as trade and geopolitical cooperation is concerned.
Look, I completely agree with you that we have to strike a balance. In fact, rare earth, the very word rare, rare it doesn't mean that it is really rare. Rare, one US Geological Survey report says that as of 2019, the world has got 120 million metric tons of these rare earth materials. We have been also into this business, and our AED, Atomic Energy Exploration department, which is located in RK Puram, in sector 1 of RK Puram, it has been in the business for long. So this strategic autonomy was on our mind from the very beginning. And we have been exploring, we have been finding how the reserves, the amount of reserves we have got, and how we can mine it when it comes to the real crunch. So we are on the path. So we are very much aware of the need for strategic autonomy. But point is, we all know that sometimes when things are not controlled, then you generally tend to be interdependent on other countries, and it was not a very high-end product. You know, this is a pure mineral or reprocessing. This until and unless China created this crisis, no one really realized that very small, not very low technology intensive act or just mineral or raw material could become so important.
Right.
So China was observing it, and China was in fact evaluating its power, its strength, and the world did not realize. This is fallacy of the entire world also, and that they thought that okay, this is a raw material kind of thing, and already the world has got plenty of it. So whenever we want, we can do it. So actually it started with that. So now we have got enough of rare earth materials spread across the world. So only thing is that you mine it. Now you have to have infrastructure. That infrastructure may take time. And for India also, yes, it has got its own plan, its own arrangement. So now it is diversifying. It is working with not only African countries or Latin American countries. There are several MOUs regarding that.
Right.
So not only extracting these materials, but also about reprocessing. So now the stage is about the reprocessing. So that is also coming up quite fast. So of course we are going to maintain a nice balance. We are aware. We have got our strategic departments operating. We have started a joint venture also. We have got our own, initially in the very beginning I told, Department of Atomic Energy, right. Like it explores about uranium. It also explores about rare earth elements also, rare earth materials also. And we it seems we have got a plan about that. And gaps are to be filled. The whole world is worried. So
clearly, so we have the roadmap. We are just trying to fill in those gaps and work towards how we build an ecosystem which is self-reliant and self-sufficient. That's the most important objective. With that, we'll have to wrap up the conversation. Time allows me to take up only that much of the program today, gentlemen. Thank you once again, Professor Singh and Professor Nayan, for joining us on the program, sharing your thoughts, your views with us and our viewers. And to you viewers, thank you very much for your time as well.